talking about nutrition for the college athlete. Steve Orris is the Director of Sports Performance at Nova Southeastern University. He oversees strength and conditioning, sports nutrition, and body composition analysis programs for 17 NCAA Division II athletic teams and over 375 athletes. Coach Orris holds certifications through the Collegiate Strength and Conditioning Coaches Association, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, the National Academy for Sports Medicine, and the International Society of Sports Nutrition. He is also recognized by the USA Weightlifting as a sports performance coach. Throughout his career, Coach Orris has trained collegiate and professional athletes on various levels. Without further ado, Steve Orris.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Good afternoon. I appreciate you all being here. I looked at the schedule and I looked at the time slot, and I thought I'd be talking to an empty room. So I appreciate you all being here. With that being said, hopefully I can entertain you a little bit, maybe tell a few jokes and give you some ideas and share some facts and stimulate a little bit of thought. My name is Steve Orris. I'm the Director of Sports Performance at Nova Southeastern University. I'll talk a little bit more about that later, but it's a Division II program down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I'm also an adjunct professor. I want to talk about my experience a little bit because it does give my perspective on things. I have a bachelor's degree in exercise science from Florida Atlantic University, a master's degree in health education from Hofstra University, certifications we've mentioned before. I started my career with internships with the Miami Dolphins and the Houston Astros, graduate assistantship at Hofstra University. Spent the beginning of my career with the University of Florida. I was there about 8 years. 2011, I moved down to Nova Southeastern University, and that's where I am now. Anytime I get the opportunity to talk in front of people, I always want to thank whoever shaped me. Professor Sue Graves at Florida Atlantic University. Back in the late 90s, this field, this profession hadn't really been developed yet. I came to her, didn't really know what I wanted to do, and she kind of pointed me in this direction, so I'm eternally grateful to her. Brad Roll was inducted to the Hall of Fame last night. He was the first person I worked with at the Miami Dolphins. Kind of gave me an idea of how to become a strength coach, how to build relationships and know what people need to be motivated. If they need a pat on the back or a punch in the stomach, he kind of shaped me in that way. Rob Glass at the time was at the University of Florida. He got me my first job. He gave me my start. He could have easily hired somebody else with more experience, but he took a chance on me, so I'm thankful for that. Lou Hernandez was at the University of Florida also with me. He helped me develop a training plan, a training model that I still use to this day. Everything is based off of that. And then finally, Mickey Marotti. He was at the end of my tenure at the University of Florida, and he changed the way I thought about everything. Just if you're not getting better on the field or the court, then why are you doing it? And anybody who knows Mick will attest to that. The field has changed just in my short time of being in this field. It's now all sports can benefit from a strength and conditioning coach. When I took this job at Nova Southeastern University, again, it's a D2 program, not much in the way of strength and conditioning prior to the last couple of years. So how do I go in and sell myself to a tennis coach or a golf coach? Okay, here I come with this football experience, baseball, basketball experience. But if you back up and think abstractly, every athlete can benefit from becoming better in movement, better in energy system, better the way that corrective exercise, the way that they heal, but also physical and mental toughness. And that's one thing that we base our program off of that. Again, I'm an administrator at times, but I'm a strength coach at heart, and that shapes my perspective. I'm also a teacher, a researcher, and a student. Strength and conditioning now includes movement analysis, corrective exercise, functional strength training, increases in strength and power, of course, conditioning, mental toughness, injury prevention. All those are great goals, but it may take you 3 to 4 weeks before you see any benefit from that. Nutrition has an immediate effect. Okay? The moment you start fueling your body, it's an immediate effect. Talk about my program a little bit. Now, this is very specific to what we do, But hopefully you can, again, think abstractly, back up a little bit, and see how this can pertain to your program as well. Division II athletic program, we have 17 sports, no football, and that's important because that changes a lot of things. It changes the amount of staff you have, changes the funding, changes the size of the weight room that we have. Sunshine State Conference, 9 schools in Florida. That's important to know because that is how we travel, okay? 375 athletes. Sports nutrition, we've all heard these. You cannot out-train poor nutrition. Good nutrition makes a good athlete great. Would you put low-grade gas in a Ferrari? Everybody's heard these, but something's missing. Okay, does sports nutrition work? I'm certified by the International Society of Sports Nutrition as a sports nutritionist, okay? We do have a dietitian on staff as well, but the way I look at it is she's dealing with more of medical conditions, whereas if somebody gets injured in the weight room, we send them to the doctor. If they're healthy, they stay with the strength coach. So we're dealing with sports nutrition for healthy athletes. So does sports nutrition work? If you look at the research and the recommendations from the International Society of Sports Nutrition, yes, of course. Okay? I'm not going to argue that point. I think we all agree to that. Do coaches recognize how important nutrition is? I would say yes. They do understand it. But do they make it a priority? Do student athletes acknowledge the benefit of proper fueling? Again, I think we've taught them. I think they understand. But do they make it a priority? We treat our bodies worse than we treat our cars. If you got into your car in the morning and you had 10 miles left to go, the amount of gas, would you try to go 20 miles? Of course not. But how many times have you seen an athlete in the morning where they're kind of dogging it and you ask them and they haven't eaten since last night? Okay, so that's 8 to 10 hours where they have not eaten. They haven't put any gas in their Ferrari. Okay, I believe sports nutrition needs to be taught with the athlete in mind, the audience in mind. Okay, you've got to make it so that they understand. We need to be realistic by providing practical and usable information, or all of our attempts will fail. Nutrition needs, I think the first thing is we've got to understand what athletes need. If you look at the recommended daily allowances, they're based off general population. That's not who we deal with. Okay, general population is 2,000 to 3,000 calories a day, protein 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight, nutrient timing, glycemic index, avoid those foods, avoid high GI foods. Okay, this is general population. Now you look at the athletic population, 3,000 to 5,000 calories. Protein recommendations are 1.5 to 2.5 grams per kilogram. Okay, that's almost double, sometimes 3 times. We're doing a research project right now with Dr. Jose Antonio, who is the founder of the organization that I'm certified through. We're doing a research project right now where we're giving people 3 grams per kilogram. Okay, so we're triple the amount of protein. Preliminary results are that there are no negative side effects to that amount of protein. Okay. So this is what we're dealing with when we're talking about just recommended daily allowances. It doesn't apply to athletes. Nutrient timing, pre-workout, during the workout, and post-workout. High GI foods have a benefit, okay, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Why do student athletes struggle with nutrition? One, they don't understand the caloric needs, which we just talked about. Food choices, what do they have available to them? I'll talk about our specific situation. Scholarship and budget, do they have enough money? Travel. Are coaches taking the time to plan ahead? Okay, I worked in baseball most of my career, and if you have a game, a doubleheader that starts at 1 o'clock, you're on the road by 10:30, 11 o'clock. If you haven't planned, you're eating at a gas station. Okay, NCAA has some rules, bylaw 16.5, we'll talk about that a little bit. Social life, I can control what my athletes do for the 45 minutes to an hour that I have them. But for the other 23 hours, I hope that I've made an impact on them. Social life and life skills, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so let's start with caloric need. Resting metabolic rate, I'm sure you guys all understand this, but it's the energy that your body needs to function. If you sat on the couch all day and did nothing, this is the amount of energy that you would burn. Height, weight, age, body fat percent all contribute to this number. Muscle burns energy, okay, fat does not. A pound of muscle can burn 50 calories an hour. Okay, so you want to have muscle on your body, obviously. Okay, now you take that resting metabolic rate, and then you start adding activity. Okay, so your total energy expenditure. This is the RMR times an activity factor from 1.53 all the way to 2.25, depending on your activity level. I would say most of our athletes are right around the active level. Very active is usually reserved for cross-country, long-distance swimming, something of that sort. Okay, so that can be confusing. So here's an example. Myself, 6'2", 220 pounds. This is the amount that I need just to sit on the couch and do nothing. Okay, if I never move a finger, I'm going to burn almost 2,200 calories. Okay, so how much to avoid weight? If taking my activity level on the factor that we just talked about, it's anywhere from 3,200 to almost 5,000 calories. Okay, weight loss, weight gain. You're trying to maintain, you're trying to gain, you're trying to lose. 3,500 calories a week divided by 7 days, 500 calories plus or minus. This is, we do body composition analysis. This is what it spits out to me. And I actually use this to try to change our nutrition program on campus. If you look at the caloric need of our athletes, I know you can't see the sports too well, but on the high end, this would be our basketball players, our taller pitchers. They're over 4,000 calories. On the low end, okay, 2,200 calories for our smaller female athletes, smaller male athletes. Let's talk about the schedule. Okay, and this is pretty typical for everybody. 6 a.m. conditioning, class from 8 to 12, training room by 2:30, taped, getting ready to go, 3 to 5 practice. Afterwards, if you're lifting after practice. Study hall, 9 p.m. homework, extracurricular activities, social life, sleep with a question mark. Okay, you hope we preach 3 meals, 3 snacks. So you hope they're getting breakfast before or after that morning conditioning. You hope they're getting a recovery shake. We can control that. You hope they're getting lunch on their way to class or after class or during class. You hope they get another shake after their workout, dinner, and then a snack. Okay, 3 meals and 3 snacks, no matter how many times we say it, with this schedule, it's very difficult to get that. How do we train? And again, this is important because this is talking about caloric need, caloric deficit in most cases. Dynamic warm-up, movement prep, workout, corrective exercise, finisher, which I'll talk about, and then stretch. What's your heart rate during this time? How many calories are you burning? Glycogen depletion. As we know, glucose, glycogen is your main source of energy. Okay, finisher, and this is something I took from Mickey Marotti. Finisher is just what it sounds like. Finisher is to finish you off. Well, that's pretty small. Okay, again, this would be at the end of a workout. This is a 20-kilogram plate. He's just pushing it 30 down and 30 back. Again, my goal is to increase mental and physical toughness. Okay, so he's working on lactic acid here, lactic acid. Through training, we hope that we can delay the onset of lactic acid buildup. Okay, another example, sled push. This is a 300-pound sled. We usually have 2 or 3 people pushing this, but this guy's an intern, so I don't care. He's going to push it himself. And again, we're working on lactic acid, okay, training the lactic acid threshold. At this point, he wants to give up. But again, he's an intern, so he can't. Okay, but how many times has this happened in a baseball game? You hit a single, they make an error, then you got to go to second, then you got to go to third, then you got to go home. Are the athletes able to do that? Have you trained their lactic acid threshold? And this guy's hurting right now. He's still pushing. And again, the goal, this is called a finisher. The goal is to finish you off. The goal is to completely deplete your glycogen stores. And right about here, he's finished. Okay, so that's the point of the finisher. One kind of cool thing that we do as part of end of the off-season challenge that we do, we use the Pit Shark, which are downstairs. Great machine. I talk to them a lot. Why I like it is because I like to push people to their limit and sometimes past it. So I'm always looking for ways that they can be pushed to the limit or past it that are safe. Okay, the Pit Shark is a belt-loaded squat. It goes around your waist. So you're doing the same movement as a squat. You can do a lot of weight. And if you fail on it, you fall down, you get embarrassed, but you get back up and you're safe. So we do their body weight, 2.5 times their body weight. In this example, this guy's 420 pounds of weight. He weighs 168. And we're going to try to do as many reps as possible in 4 minutes. This won't run 4 minutes, I promise. But we've got it set up. We've got the plate set up behind him so we know he's getting full depth. Okay, 4 minutes later and he's done. This guy doesn't fall down or pass out or anything fun, but you get the idea. He's completely finished now. He's depleted his glycogen system. He hopefully has gained a little bit of mental and physical toughness, but what does this do to his body? Okay, he has nothing left. So what's he going to do tomorrow? Okay, through programming, you try to do this on a Friday where they'll have 2 days to get their glycogen stores back up. But occasionally you would do that. We call it the Shark Challenge, Muscle Shark Challenge. We do that Monday through Friday, and it's very similar to this. So what's that doing to their body? How does this affect training? Okay, glycogen depletion. Glycogen is the main fuel source for aerobic activity and repeated bouts of anaerobic activity. Okay, that's how we train, repeated bouts of anaerobic activity. So depletion of glycogen stores may result in decreased performance and overtraining. It's been estimated that if you completely deplete your glycogen stores, it can take up to 48 hours to replenish that with normal diet. Okay, so obviously we can't use normal diet. What happens when there's no more glycogen? Okay, your body's not going to shut down. It's going to steal energy. Where does it steal it? Protein from your muscles. Okay, so you start breaking down muscles so that your body can function. Obviously, that's not a goal that we're trying to accomplish with strength and conditioning. How do we promote recovery? We use a Gatorade shake. We've used muscle milk in the past. They're all pretty much the same. 270 calories, a good mix of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Post-workout meal. We hope that they'll eat within an hour. Again, high glycemic index foods because those are absorbed quickly. Glycogen can be put back into your glycogen stores very rapidly with high GI foods. But again, eating within an hour is not always possible. So you give them the shake. You hope they drink the shake on the way to go eat lunch. But that's not always what happens. Again, they need the fuel for tomorrow. Our situation, food choices on campus, we don't have a cafeteria. We have more of a food court. We have a salad bar, a food bar, which is a rotating menu, a smoothie place, Subway, pizza, Denny's, and a convenience store. Okay, so not exactly the model for a sports nutrition program, but we have what we have. Okay, so food quality. You can still make good choices. You can make good choices at McDonald's, but you've got to be educated and you've got to know what's on the menu first. How is it prepared? You can ask at the food court, but it's probably a student that really doesn't know or doesn't care to answer you. So you're not going to know how it was prepared, how many calories in it. Okay, good luck with that. Now let's talk about money, scholarship and budget. Again, this is an NSU policy. This is how we do it. Your situation may be a little bit different. A full ride athletic scholarship is tuition, books, fees, housing, and food. Okay, $39,000 a year. That's more than I made the first 10 years of my career. But again, this is what they offer. Okay, break that down further. The food award, $4,000 for the year, $2,000 per semester. This is put onto a Shark card, and they can use this anywhere on campus. But again, what do we have on campus? I just listed the restaurants that we have. This averages $20 a day. Okay, so the question became, if the student athlete lives on campus and only eats on campus, is that enough money to get the amount of calories that they need? So going back to there, we had the high end and the low end. Okay, on the low end, 2,200 calories a day. Basic stuff, juice, milk, oatmeal, salad, Subway, chips and soda. Okay, look how much it costs, $24.50. Okay, again, our average is $20 a day. Now on the high end, not even close. Okay, again, these are just estimates. These are possible examples. But look at the total, $40, okay? Again, the amount of money we've given our athletes is $20 per day. So with just that fact, there's no way that they can get the amount of food that they need. Okay, so I ask again, if the student athlete lives on campus and only eats on campus, is that enough money to get the amount of calories that they would need? No, of course not. Okay, let's talk about travel. Division II travel is no more than 6 hours by bus. All of our schools are located in the state of Florida. Barry University, Lynn University, Rollins, University of Tampa, Florida Southern, St. Leo, Eckerd College, and Florida Tech, and Nova Southeastern. How can we do this better? We talked about timing. Without planning ahead, it's very difficult to get any proper nutrition on the road. Okay, so we put together a list of restaurants. We know our in-conference schools, we know the travel, we know how long it takes. So we put together a list of restaurants that we give to all the coaches. Hour 1, you've got this. Hour 2, you've got this. Hour 3, you can stop at these places. Hopefully they can pre-order meals and take them on the bus. You can work with local restaurants and deliver food on the field before they leave. When I was at the University of Florida, that was my job as a strength coach for the baseball team. Whenever we were on the road, we would order the food. I'd have to go get it. About the 7th inning, I'd go get the food, bring it back onto the bus, and we'd eat it. It was a pain in the ass. It's not what I wanted to be doing, but at least I knew they were getting proper nutrition. We want to establish nutrition captains. We use the SAC model, the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. We use that model. Every team has a SAC representative. So if we can tie into what they're doing, we can start educating them on nutrition, then they can be the spokesperson for the team. Okay, NCAA regulation, bylaw 16.5. This limits the amount of money you're allowed to give your athletes on the road. For us, it's $5 for breakfast, $10 for lunch, $15 for dinner. Okay, your situation may be different. But again, that's limiting the amount of food that they can get. So again, why do athletes struggle with nutrition? We've talked about caloric needs. We've talked about food choices. We've talked about the amount of money that they have, travel. We've talked about the NCAA regulation on what you can give them. Okay, social life. I had the opportunity to go to the Apple conference. Be honest, I don't know what Apple stands for, but they promote student-athlete wellness and drug abuse prevention. It's put on by the University of Virginia. We talked about a lot of things, just wellness. We talked about drug prevention, but we also talked about alcohol and how it affects performance. Research done by the American Athletic Institute. I apologize, this is a lot smaller than I thought it would be, but hopefully it's in your slides. But research done by the American Athletic Institute found that getting drunk one time, okay, so that's going to be specific to you, maybe it's 4 drinks, 5 drinks, 6 drinks, whatever it is for that person, okay, 0.04 blood alcohol level is considered being drunk. Depresses immune function, doubles the amount of recovery time for an injury, okay, decreases performance by 15%, and that's what stuck out to me. Decreasing your performance by 15%. So ask yourself, is 85% of your capacity, is that enough to do what you want to do? Okay, what would a 15% increase look like over the course of a season? Example of a softball team. Okay, they finish their season 24-31. They lose 6 games by 1 run or less. Okay, look at their numbers in black. Okay, now add 15% to that. Okay, so a 15% increase if you don't use alcohol during the season. Through looking at statistics and you've gained 4 games just by doing that. Okay, 4 games. You went from sub 500, not making the tournament, to above 500, making the tournament. Now, I know that's a little bit dramatic, but I think you get my point. Okay, so what do we do at Nova? Our main goal is injury prevention. I really enjoyed the talk that was in here right before this because we're doing a lot of this stuff already, and I'm very proud of that. Our evaluation, we do a physical pre-participation exam with the doctor. We do concussion baseline testing, functional movement screening. The strength coaches do their strength and flexibility and conditioning tests. We do body composition. Our nutrition policy, and we fought on this a lot with the doctors, they wanted to use BMI. As we know, muscular athletes score off the charts on BMI, so it's not a very good indicator for athletes. But we compromise that if they're high on their BMI and they're out of range in their body fat percentage, then we'll trigger nutrition counseling. Okay? Body weight and body composition will be monitored more closely if they're out of range and they're in nutrition counseling. Okay, BOD-POD, we use that. For our body composition analysis. NCAA regulation, body composition can't be used as a punishment. You can't use that information to punish athletes. The data needs to be collected privately and not shared. Emphasis should be placed on a range rather than a number. Okay, focus on the trend rather than the current state. Increase the focus on lean body mass rather than the body fat percent number. Explain how body composition will affect performance. So again, education. We try to do BOD-POD 2 to 3 times a year. We do it when they get back on campus after summer. We do it preseason, postseason, and after the off season. The ranges that we've developed, and this is based off of normative data for all male, all female athletes, is males 18 to 15%, females 18 to 25%. Okay? Track the results over a 2 to 4 year period, and then you have a pretty good indicator if you're doing a good enough job with sports nutrition and with the training that you're doing. Assess the trends throughout the year. Typically, at the end of the in-season, you're going to see negative results. But then again, that tells you your roadmap, what you need to be doing during the in-season with your nutrition analysis. Athletes are counseled individually by myself. We never give the information to the coaches. We try to emphasize 3 results. So you're looking for 3 things with your consultations. Lean body mass, whether it goes up or down. The body fat percent, again, you want to be in those ranges. And then body mass, has it gone up or down? Try to find something positive. A lot of times your body mass may have decreased, but your lean body mass went up. So then that leads into the conversation about protein, making sure you get enough protein, or vice versa if it's gone the other way. But again, use this as a way to start the conversation. Sport coaches are never given the results. They're categorized as under range, in range, or over range. Head coaches will receive a report that illustrates the distribution of their team. The NCAA regulates everything, as you guys know. The sport coaches want to know the body fat percentage of their team because they want to know if they're in shape or not. And I applaud that. I understand that. So try to working within the rules that the NCAA has set. This is what they'll get. These are my notes. They'll never see this, but this is the men's basketball team. Anyone in green is below range. Okay, so we set the range at 8 to 15. So the top one there is 6.3. So he's below range. So he would be green, meaning he needs to eat more. Anyone in red. Okay, so for this example, anyone above 15%, stop. Okay, stop eating. These are just my notes, and then everyone else is within range. So what the coaches would get. An example with the women's track and field. Okay, throwers, these are basic for most teams. Okay, with the throwers, they're going to be a little bit bigger, so they'll be in red a little bit more. Cross country, on the other hand, they tend to be a little bit leaner. Okay, so this is the report that the coach would get. Hopefully it satisfies their needs. They're able to get what they want. They're able to see the level that their athletes are at. Okay, one thing that I really stress to our athletes, take advantage of what we offer. I give them the same speech every year at our initial squad meetings. Take advantage of what we have. Just within the 2 days that they're going through their exams with physicians, nutritionists, psychologists, physical therapists, athletic trainers, and strength coaches. When they get out of school, they're going to have to pay for all that. Any one of those things is going to cost at least $100. So what we try to do with the 2, 3, 4 years that we have them, set them on the right path, make sure that they're getting the help that they need, so that when I'm not interested in them for 4 years, I'm interested in them for the next 20, making sure that they're leaving as adults and they can take care of themselves and hopefully take care of somebody else. Okay, eating disorders, not a huge part of the population, but you do have to be prepared for it. How do we identify the problem? Again, with the BMI, the body fat, and then we have, that would trigger. They'll kind of get on our radar, and then we'll maybe probe a little bit deeper. Underweight is often easier to diagnose. You know if somebody's underweight. You can tell by just looking at them. But bulimia and body image disorders, they usually look the same. They usually look like they're normal and healthy. So you've got to be a little bit more careful with them. Okay, supplements. Again, the NCAA is involved in this. We're allowed to provide non-muscle building supplements in 4 categories: vitamins and minerals, energy bars, a calorie booster shake, or a carbohydrate and electrolyte drink. Okay, NCAA banned list. I won't go through that. We should all know that. But what's interesting on the bottom there is protein powders. And I always get a lot of questions from athletes. Protein is banned. Protein is not banned. We cannot provide it. Okay, so the athletic department cannot provide it to the athlete. Protein may be supplemented as a part of as a calorie replacement drink. The protein content has to be less than 30% of the total caloric value of the drink. So the Muscle Milk Collegiate, the Gatorade Recover, those all fall within that range. Okay, supplements. The Dietary Supplement Health Education Act of 1994 is one of the scariest things I've ever seen. Companies can market proposed benefits without proof. Okay? They can say it does whatever they want to say, and they don't have to prove it. They don't even have to prove that it's healthy. The burden of proof is on the FDA to prove that it's harmful. Not that it doesn't do what it says it's going to do, that it's harmful. Okay? So the government has to prove that it's harmful. The companies themselves can say whatever they want. Our friends at Twitter would handle that as hashtag scary. Okay? What if they do take supplements? Again, we can tell them not to take them, but we know they are going to take them. So we try to ask 5 questions. What does it do? What's in it? If it's a proprietary blend, you should be afraid of that because you don't know what's in it. They don't list what's in it. Okay? What is the dosage? How does it work? And is it banned? Obvious question, but they may not have asked that. We use Drug-Free Sport. We can send them an inquiry. They'll look into the products, and they'll send it back as a risk level. Level 1 is it's probably okay. Level 3 is stay away from this. Okay, so we've been able to build a database of supplements that we can now, I wouldn't say we recommend, but we counsel our athletes on them. Okay, our nutrition plan: educate, train, and evaluate. How do we educate nutrition captains? Mentioned before, we try to establish, again, using the SAC model, we establish a captain that will be the spokesperson for the team regarding team meals. What this does, it allows us to educate 17 people rather than trying to educate 365 people. Establishes them in a leadership position, and hopefully it's somebody who has an interest in this as a career. We'll meet with the nutrition team once a month, and we'll just talk about topics of nutrition. Some topics that we would talk about: practical information, again, helps the student athletes make good choices. Some sample ideas: breakfast, how do you feel for a 6 a.m. workout? Hydration, are you getting enough? How much do you need? And how do you know? Recovery, what to eat and when. And that leads into the conversation of glycemic index foods, when to use them. Supplements, an idea that somebody else gave me was, why not use the pharmacy school? That's what they're doing. They're looking at these things. They're looking at supplements. They're looking at drugs. So pull them into your education and use them. A lot of times I use the ISSN position papers just to start the conversation and the education. Training, again, our goal in strength and conditioning need to prioritize improvements on the field. All aspects of training need to be evaluated and redirected toward this common goal. Okay, I've yet to meet an athlete that signed a scholarship to be a weightlifter. Okay, if they can bench 350 pounds, that's awesome. But if they can't push somebody off them, then why are we doing it? Okay, so the benefit needs to be seen on the field. And we evaluate, body comp evaluation 2 times a year, more often than that if they are out of range and they've been triggered into our counseling program. Strength, power, conditioning, and performance evaluation twice a year. Injury and illness reports. A lot of times you can work backwards. You see a team that seems to be getting injured a lot. Okay, that can tell you a lot of things. They're probably overtraining. They're probably drinking alcohol, and they're probably not getting enough protein. Okay, protein is the fuel source for your immune system. So it's not always going to be a direct correlation, but again, this will give you a starting point to figure out what's going on. Are the sport coaches using what we're offering? The sport coaches evaluate us. Well, we evaluate them as well. Because I'm on the administrative team, I'm an assistant athletic director, I have direct access to my athletic director. And we evaluate our sport coaches. Are they using nutrition counseling that we offer? Are they using sports psychologists? Are they keeping us up to date with their schedule? So they've evaluated us, but now we're able to evaluate them as well. Again, we need to offer practical information. We tell them 500 calories plus or minus, but what does that look like? There's a lot of different ways to get 500 calories. Plain bagel with cream cheese, Belgian waffle, a 9-ounce lean steak, or 2 Snickers candy bars. Okay? So they need to be able to recognize what 500 calories is. We can't just tell them increase or decrease 500 calories. What does that look like? Nutrient density. Okay, there's a lot of ways to get 2,500 calories, but the athletes need to have a basic understanding of the concept of nutrient density. This will allow them to be accountable for the quality of the calories that they ingest. Okay? Nutrient density, obviously, is the amount of nutrition per gram that you're getting. Okay, so if they understand this, then they're working within the caloric limits that we've given them, whether it's 2,500 or all the way up to 4,000. You know, how are you getting those calories, and how much nutrition is actually in that? We got this from the United States Olympic Committee, and this is just following that concept. So you're on a 2,500 calorie diet, but that's going to change. The way you need nutrition is going to change throughout the year through your training program. Easy training, I would say this would probably be postseason, right after maybe some circuit training, trying to recover, get your body ready to train again. So it changes the amount of carbohydrates and the type of carbohydrates you want to get. Whereas if you get into moderate training, you see it's more of a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And then as you get into hard training, again, half of your plate is going to be carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, again, to replace the glycogen stores that you've lost. How do we measure our success? The ultimate goal is winning, but we can measure our contribution by analyzing changes in body composition seasonally, annually, and career. Okay, so if you have an athlete and you've tested them 2 to 3 times over the course of 4 years, you've got a pretty good picture of what they've done if you've done your job educating them. Okay, the rate of illness and overtraining, we talked about that. And then just anecdotal evidence. What choices are they making? Go to the food court and watch them. Go on the road with them, watch them. What are they eating? Okay, and then use that to educate yourself on how to communicate with them effectively. Continuing challenges, life skills, Some of our athletes don't know how to take care of themselves. It's the first time they've been on their own. Okay, they don't know how to cook. They don't know how to shop. Budgeting. There's no money left in their account. We had one girl come to us. She wasn't feeling well. She had low energy. She just didn't feel good all the time. So we started talking to her about her nutrition plan, and she was eating bread and water, literally bread and water for 2 weeks. So we asked her why. She said she didn't have any money left on her card. Her parents weren't giving her any money, and she had no money left. So don't assume that they understand how to budget. Okay, you can't assume anything with 18 to 22-year-olds. And then planning ahead. I think, again, that goes into budgeting. Our successes, we've developed a sports nutrition team that includes the SAC president, a dietitian, an athletic trainer, and myself. The team met with the catering director, and he agreed to make some changes. The food bar will now be expanded, and it's replaced Denny's. And all this went into effect last summer, actually. The food bar will have a rotating menu that we'll have some input on. The price will be determined by weight, okay, but it won't be capped. So no matter how much food you put on that plate, it'll never cost more than $9. That was a huge victory for us because we had our bigger athletes, 4,000 calorie a day athletes, and they couldn't get enough food at the food court. Now that they can, it's almost an all-you-can-eat situation where they're able to get as much as they want and only have to pay one price. Okay, where we've struggled, we need more staff. I mean, I need somebody to do this full-time. I'm a strength coach by nature, and that's what I want to be doing, but I saw the need, so I kind of stepped in this role. We need more money on the meal plan, obviously, and we need a training table. We always talk about adding football to our athletic department. I believe if we did add football, we probably would get a training table, but as of now, we have what we have. Tips, the entire athletic department needs to take ownership in the plan. And I challenge yourself to plan 3 meals and 3 snacks in a collegiate setting. Okay, where did you struggle? In your situation on your campus, are you able to plan 3 meals and 3 snacks? Okay, put yourself in their situation. Work backwards, start with the desired result, and then plan on how to get there after you've established that. And that's it. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to take them right now, but you need to watch my family train. Any questions that I can answer for you guys? Well, thank you. I guess this is the last talk of the conference. I appreciate you guys all sticking around. If you have any questions that you don't want to ask now, send me an email, and I'd be happy to talk with you guys. Thank you.